Welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
And I'm Sally.
Sit back, relax,
and enjoy our review of Night of Champions.
Straight in with a big one, the final of the King of the Ring tournament. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. To say the fans weren't up for it is an understatement. They're chanting holding up the start as both wrestlers drank in the adulation and admiration. After a few hits and knees, we get the first cover attempt of the night, a 2 count off a bulldog from Rhodes.
Rhodes goes high, but Orton brings him down with a superplex, seemingly tweaking his back. Rhodes disaster kicks Orton and covers for 2, with Cody then working the Viper's back any way he can. Orton hits a backbreaker, but in doing so, hurts himself. Rhodes wraps Orton around the ring post, putting more pressure on his back, and then lands a drop kick from the top rope, covering Orton again for 2.
Orton does manage a scoop power slam and cover for 2, but Cody goes back to the back and drops Orton with a Cody cutter, covering for 2 once again. We then have another Cody cutter from the top rope, or as Cole likes to call it, an avalanche Cody cutter, the cover 2. Orton musters some strength, whipping Rhodes into the corner, with Rhodes then ending up on the apron. Orton follows up with his draping DDT and readies for the RKO.
The Viper's about to strike, but Rhodes counters into a crossroads and covers for 2. Rhodes can't believe it and heads over to a dazed Orton, but Orton wasn't dazed and hit an RKO from out of nowhere, covering for 2.5. Orton teases a punt, has second thoughts and then third thoughts, and then goes for it anyway. Cody dodges it and locks Orton into a figure 4, but Orton reverses it with the 2 then rolling to the ropes and breaking the hold.
The 2 have a yay boo off, with Rhodes winning out and going for another Cody cutter. Orton catches it mid-air, turning it into an RKO. Unbelievably, Rhodes kicks out on 2. Orton leaves the ring, grabs a chair and then heads back to the ring. The referee intercepts Orton, wresting the chair from him and passing it to someone outside. While the ref is doing this and not looking, Orton exposes the top turnbuckle.
Orton tries to ram Cody's head into the turnbuckle, with Rhodes stopping it and trying to return the favour. The pair come away from the corner, but Rhodes sends Orton back towards it and crashing into the exposed metal. As Orton comes away, Rhodes locks in the Cody cutter, hits it and covers. This time it's all over as the ref smacks the mat 3 times and we crown Rhodes the winner of the King of the Ring.
Now, we both said Orton.
We did.
He still hasn't won the King of the Ring. Good match, good start, strong start.
Very strong start, yeah.
Maybe next year, Orton. Maybe next year. After Aldis and Pierce congratulate Rhodes, Saxton asks him how he feels at having a chance to reclaim the title at SummerSlam. Rhodes thanks Orton and then says that at SummerSlam, be it against CM Punk or John Cena, he'll get the ball back. Because he's the quarterback and he's on about the... You know what I'm on about.
Thanks. Up next, a street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Rodriguez overpowers Rhea and then hits 2 fall-away slams before tying her up on the ropes. Mommy Called then leaves the ring and re-enters with a kendo stick and chair. After hitting Rhea with the stick, Raquel goes for the chair, but as she swings, Rhea gets her foot up, boots it into Raquel's head.
This buys Ripley enough time to get out the ropes, with the 2 then heading to the outside. The 2 fight on the announcer's table, with Rodriguez then powerbombing Ripley through the hood of the announcer's desk that had been placed over the timekeeper's area a few moments ago. I'm hoping the picture will explain that better than I did. Rodriguez sets a table up in the corner of the ring and the ring steps on the apron, but this backfires as Rhea slams Rodriguez into the ring steps and then removes her belt and begins to whip Mommy Cool.
Rodriguez escapes back into the ring, but Rhea manages to raise his edge and then dropkick her before covering for 2. Ripley locks in the Prism Lock, but then attacked from behind by Roxanne Perez. It doesn't work out well for the newest member of the Judgment Day, as she's suplexed on the outside and then put into a bin and kicked.
Rodriguez makes a comeback, throwing Rhea into the ring post, the ring steps on the apron, and then corkscrew splashing her from the middle rope. The cover, 2. Rhea fights back, bouncing Rodriguez's head off the table in the ring, which is also set up across the corner now. Rhea gets on the table, drags Raquel up, and then avalanche riptides her back down to the mat. That's curtains for Rodriguez as Rhea covers for the 1, 2, 3. Nice to see. The ref was holding the table while it was on the ropes just to make sure. But that's fair enough. It's all about the safety. It's entertainment. It was entertaining.
It was good, yeah.
Another good match, I thought, personally.
Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn now. Kross with Scarlett, of course. Zayn sends Kross from the ring, with Kross then dragging Sami to the outside. But to his demise, as Sami manages a moonsault from the crowd barrier before the pair get back in the ring. After a hit and choke on the rope, the pair end up on the top rope with Zayn becoming hung up in the Tree of Woe. Kross lays in a few kicks and then covers for 1.
Cole mentions Kross's plodding style, but not in a negative way. Of course not, Michael. As we then watch Kross punch Zayn before plodding, walking around the ring. Sami fights back with mounted punches and a double axe handle from the middle rope before going up high again. Sami misses, Kross hits a Death Valley driver and covers for 2.
A Doomsday Saito dazes Zayn, with Kross then looking for the crosshair. As he attacks, Zayn ducks and turns it into a blue thunderbomb and covers for 2. Kross makes a mini comeback, hitting Zayn with 2 German suplexes, but Zayn manages to hit an exploder in the corner and sets up for a haluva kick. As Sami reaches the middle of the ring, Kross meets him and locks in the cross jacket.
Kross falls back into the middle of the ring with Zayn still locked in the move. The referee checks his consciousness by lifting his arm, which I thought they weren't doing anymore. But anyway, Zayn's arm drops twice, but on the 3rd try he raises it with the match continuing. Sami makes the ropes with the hold then being broken. Kross gets Sami in the corner and clotheslining him twice, but as Kross heads to the opposite corner to tee up a 3rd strike, Sami follows him and hits an haluva kick. Sami is then able to cover Kross and get the 1, 2, 3. For me, this was probably the weakest match of the whole thing.
I think it's just because you weren't that bothered as well.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about either wrestler. If one of them wins and one of them... It doesn't bother me who wins. I'm not invested in either of them. Yeah, I'm not saying they can't wrestle, but I think the problem is because you don't see Kross very rarely, why are you going to get behind him? How many times has he wrestled now? 3 since October? If that. Twice maybe, that we've seen on television. How can I get behind a guy I don't see, or how can I root for the other guy when I've got no interest in the other guy? Neither of those excite me. I'm not really bothered about either of them. If they win, they win. They lose, they lose. I'm not like, oh, that's a shame. I'm like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, next one.
But you might love Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
You might love Karrion Kross. That is fine. If you do, let us know and tell us why. Why are you interested? Why does a guy excite you that's wrestled twice in about a year?
Yeah.
Anyway.
The Men's United States Championship is on the line next as Solo Sikoa takes on Jacob Fatu. Solo ain't messing about as he goes straight for Fatu by throwing him into the ring post and then pounding away. Fatu gets his own back instantly by throwing Solo into the corner and laying in kicks. A hip attack is lined up, but Solo wisely rolls out the ring.
We get a jumping clothesline from Fatu off the ring steps before we head back into the ring. A senton or 2 by the werewolf is then followed by a moonsault attempt, but Solo again rolls out the ring as he sees Fatu take the first step on the bottom rope. Jacob dives out the ring, but Solo catches him with a fist and then drops him with 2 Uranagis.
Jacob gets back in the ring but posts himself in the corner, allowing Solo to hip attack and then mock the werewolf with his shaky dance. Solo locks in a choke, but Fatu fights out, suplexing his former leader and then hip attacking and Impaler DDTing him. Fatu goes high, lands a swanton and then covers, but only for 2. Fatu goes up again, but as he does, JC runs down. But while the referee's dealing with him, a hooded figure trips Jacob while on the top rope.
Tongaloa is back and drops Fatu with a spinning neckbreaker before exiting the ring. Solo crawls over to Fatu and covers, but Fatu kicks out on 2. Fatu then ducks a Samoan spike and super kicks Solo before leaping the top rope and taking out Loa and Mateo. Fatu re-enters the ring and pop-up Samoan drops Solo before super kicking and hip attacking JC in the corner after he entered the ring.
Fatu went for the moonsault and landed it, but as Jacob covered, he's pulled from the ring by, according to Michael Cole, who completely lost it, Tonga Loa, Tama, Tonga, their brother.
That is literally what he said, and apparently this guy is their brother.
Anyway, this new guy told Fatu he messed up before chokeslamming him on the announcer's desk and then rolling him back into the ring. The ref, by the way, was dealing with JC the whole time.
And never
didn't
saw
see anything.
a thing. Solo spikes and then covers Fatu, picking up the victory and the United States Championship. I don't think that team up with Jimmy Uso can come any sooner. Especially now we have Bloodline 4.0. Plus the return of Tama Tonga to come sometime. So they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And now there's enough of them to go up against the White Six. And I hope they crush them.
The Queen of the Ring will be crowned next as Asuka takes on Jade Cargill in the final. Cargill going full Storm cosplay. Asuka works Jade's knees and legs to begin with, but Jade fights back with a fall-away slam, super kick and choke slam before covering for 2. The two then exchange forearms in the middle of the ring, with Asuka then landing a spinning backhand kick and double knee facebreaker, i.e. codebreaker.
Asuka goes for a cover and gets a 2 after landing a missile dropkick from the top rope, with Cargill replying with a sit-down powerbomb and cover for 2. Jade goes for Jaded, but Asuka counters into the Asuka lock. Jade turns it into a pin, but Asuka kicks out. Asuka then lays in some kicks and sets up for the Empress Impact, but Cargill catches her mid-move and turns it into Jaded. The finishers hit, Cargill covers and becomes the new Queen of the Ring. Good.
Yeah, I'm
Good
happy.
for her. I like that. I like that.
After the match, Aldis and Pierce congratulate Cargill, with Saxton asking how she feels. After some uplifting words, which have nothing to do with what Saxton asked, Cargill says a storm is coming for SummerSlam. Cargill did place the crown on her head, but soon took it off again. Come on, guys, wear the crown, especially you, QB.
Yeah, let's have you. You've won it. Stick it on your head. Be proud about it. You know, there's no point winning then like, do something with it. Anyway, last match of the night: CM Punk versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. After multiple lockups, a few breakups and a headlock, we finally get some real action underway with a John Cena shoulder takedown. This is followed by punches, a suplex, a slam and cover for 1. Cena escapes a GTS attempt by exiting the ring and then kicks out of a roll-up cover for 2 when he had Punk in position for an AA.
Punk goes for an abdominal stretch / modified octopus hold, but Cena easily gets out of the move, punching and then kicking Punk and setting up for a 5-knuckle shuffle. He lands it and sets up for the AA, but Punk escapes and hits a neckbreaker, running knee in the corner and clothesline before landing a flying elbow drop from the top rope. Punk signals for the GTS and goes for it, but as his knee's about to connect with Cena's chin, Cena grabs Punk's leg and puts him in the STF.
Punk escapes and locks in the Anaconda Vice, but Cena forces the break when he rolls Punk onto his shoulders, causing him to kick out. The two get up with Cena hitting an AA and covering for 2. Punk DDTs Cena and then locks in his own STF, but Cena reaches the rope. After a few reversed moves, Cena manages another AA with Punk barely kicking out at the cover on 2.
Cena decides to go for a super AA and climbs the ropes with Punk, but Punk fights him off, pushing Cena to the mat. Punk follows with a crossbody, but Cena rolls through, picks up Punk, hoists him over his head and hits another AA, followed by a cover. Once again, Punk kicks out on 2.9. As usual, Cena's had enough at this point, so leaves the ring, collects his title and then re-enters the squared circle.
The crowd chants no, with Cena listening and tossing the belt out the ring, and then going for another AA. Punk escapes and GTS's Cena, covering for 2. The two wrestlers then have a punch and kick off, with Cena going for his shoulder tackle, only Punk ducked, with Cena taking out the referee. Punk GTS's Cena again and covers for at least 10, but of course there's no count as the ref's dead. Haven't we seen this play out before with Randy Orton? Was it Backlash?
I think so, yeah. Anyway, Punk beckons for a ref down, but instead gets Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman and Bron Bronson. When Seth gets close enough to the ring, he unleashes his dogs of war, with Bron Bronson attacking Punk. Punk does hold his own, but when he goes over the top rope after the invisible carpet carriers, he loses out and ends up getting partly double choke slammed onto the announcer's desk. I say partly because Bron Bronson made a real hash of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the two big guys
couldn't quite get in sync.
No, to lift up Punk, it was a bit... Anyway, with Punk through the announcer's desk, Seth stood alone in the middle of the ring, briefcase in hand and beckoning another referee down. A ref races down, but Cena intercepts him, taking him out, and then enters the ring, asking what Seth's up to. Seth, furious, swings the Money in the Bank briefcase at Cena, but Cena ducks and AA's the Visionary. Bron Bronson then attacks Cena, with Reed threatening a tsunami.
As is about to head up to the top, out comes Penta, with Breakker meeting him halfway up the rampway. Breakker bests Penta, with Sami Zayn then heading out. Zayn and Breakker fight up the side of the stage, with Penta then crossbodying both of them, which ultimately takes all three men out.
Back in the ring, Reed goes for a tsunami, but Punk pushes him down, with Cena then ending him with an AA. Now we're back to Cena and Punk, with Punk offering a hand to Cena. Cena shakes and embraces Punk, but during the embrace, Cena's face changes to that of deceit. He tries to low blow Punk, but Punk's wise to it, catches Cena's foot and goes for a GTS.
Punk turns around with Cena escaping his shoulders just as Seth clocks Punk with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Seth then stomps Punk, with Cena then tossing Seth over the top rope to win the Royal Rumble. Cena then rolls Punk onto his back and covers just as the referee slides back into the ring. Of course, the referee counts to 3. Punk was hit with the Money in the Bank briefcase and then stomped. Night of Champions ends with Cena raising the title at the top of the rampway.
Exciting ending.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
It was entertaining.
That's what the E is for, and it was exactly that. I wasn't expecting Penta to run out.
No, I wasn't.
To try and save the day, but zero fear and all that.
Exactly. And I had a bit of a thing with that group anyway, so
and Zayn coming down as well.
Is everyone coming out?
Are we starting to build which I did mention while I was watching this when we were talking, Survivor Series? Are we looking at that? I mean, they do keep helping one another out, and they have done. I mean, I don't see why not, but all in all, pretty good.
Yeah.
PLE or pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. Enjoyable. And yeah, as I say, apart from Kross and Zayn, which
I wasn't really bothered, so it just didn't interest me. So
no, I mean, we watch it to let you guys know what happened, how it played out, and then we feel like we can give our opinion, and it just wasn't. But everything else was sound. Glad Cargill won.
Yeah, I am as well.
I was pleased about that. I'd say shame Orton didn't win.
Yeah, I'd have liked to even say just to have won.
Because what does he do now? See, Rhodes is always going to be involved.
He will always get back to the title.
But with Orton being as the age he is, he can't just. You've got to give him something to do. Yeah, I feel. I don't know. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, and even if you didn't, then give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, you might even consider subscribing. But whatever you choose, thank you very much for watching.
And hopefully, we'll see you Tuesday for Raw.